Hi there, this is the latest update on my Mandalorian costume project. I actually finished this guy maybe 4 or 5 days ago. Something like that. Um, I did do a photo post on the weekend, but I'm finally doing the video post on it now. Although I did act a few extras today, a couple of greeblies on the top of the center unit there. And I've also done some cleaning up on it. I haven't sanded it. I might do some sanding yet, but I'm just using a coarse file that can also work as a wood rasp. Just using that for the quick cleanup of everything, and seems to do a pretty good job. I'm happy with that overall. So basically a rundown on what I've used. The center tube is actually a aluminium drinking flask. You can put hot stuff in it, but mainly cold drinks. It's good for that, except the lid always leaked. That's why I've used it here. It's been in the cupboard for a long time. The two side tubes, the rocket engines, they're just following the instructions provided by the creator of this project. They're cardboard tubes wrapped in EVA foam with the structure built up around them, but that's as far as I've gone. I've made some significant changes to his design. Firstly, I didn't like the idea that this was a tube with wings attached, in a sense. I felt that it needed a complete panel covering the entire back of it. So there's one sheet of 6mm EVA foam covering the entire back, plus the two pieces, one on each side of the tube. Now for the center one, like I said, that's a drinking bottle. On top and on the bottom, you see two plastic pieces there. They were actually part of the cooling system of a video projector. I thought I would really greeblify this particular one because I just felt the greeblies would give that real metal component to it rather than using entirely EVA foam. So basically those tubes, they were screwed together with a cooling fan in between them, but now one on top and one below. I really like the look of it. They're not equal. They're not even on both sides. There's variation in the design, so it just adds that little bit of Star Wars randomness to the design. At the top of this one, the actual dust cover cap for the projector lens was a perfect fit for that. So that's sitting there. That thing with the silver rim around it is actually a foot off a VCD player I was dismantled. On top is a deodorant bottle cap. Here in the middle, there is actually one of the glass lenses of some kind. I'm not sure what it did in the video projector, but it's just a glass lens, convex shape with just a random metal frame out of another, that or the other projector. I actually just had two dead projectors I was able to dismantle for parts. So it's one or the other. One was, I think, a Panasonic. The other one was an Epson. This also was out of the projector. That was glass with a metal frame on it. I have no idea what it was for, but it looks great. Once it's all painted up, they're going to look good. Because even though there's glass, once you paint them, I mean, they're just going to look like just a nice metal shape. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with my focus. So the two rocket engines here, they're just basically torches. I picked them up at the local equivalent of a dollar store here in Thailand. They're called 20 baht shops. These were 25 baht, and I cut them roughly 2/3 their original length. The other end was obviously a larger end with the battery cap, and as it turns out, I was able to use both of them to build out a nerf pistol in the Star Wars style. So ultimately, the cut-off ends of these torches have also been used, but they just had a nice rocket flare at the bottom. It's a bit small, but it was a nice rocket flare, and the push button I put to the side, and it just adds a bit of that jetpack texture to it, which is nice. And here there was an orange ring around, which you can actually see there, which added a little bit of texture to that. It was just a nice fit over that. At the top, I got a few odds and ends. There's a metal ring, which also was from the torch inside the battery cap, I think. On top, same on the other side, is the smaller foot from the same VCD player, and a small toothpaste cap, okay, from what you get at resorts, the micro ones. And that's
one. Again, the free toothbrush from the same torch. I just like the shape. It's actually 2 toothbrushes because if you put those two together, they'll be longer than the original. So it's two brushes I cut up to make that, and there's a button off the VCD player on the back of that one. Again, they look too much like toothbrushes now, but once I've finished a little bit of detailing and of course the painting, that'll be much more believable. That's actually the folding, that plastic on either side, that's the folding cover for the same toothbrush. It's a lot of toiletries in this one, not just projector parts and toiletries. So again, you can see this one is the same. So basically, yeah, it's just a lot of odds and ends brought together to make this thing. This is actually the first part of the costume that I've actually done some dressing up, with the filing. As you can see, it's still a bit furry here. I have to clean that up, but you can see what I mean about the back. I've used a solid piece of foam on the back, whereas the original, they would joint here to the tube. You can see the tube here, which I think is a really bad idea. What I'm thinking to do to attach is just a little square frame, maybe a square frame about that big. I've got 2 magnetic stickers from the side of a taxi. And I was going to cut one, put in here, cut the other one to put on the panel on the back of the shirt. And hopefully on the shirt, it'll have the actual square panel. Sorry, here will just be framed. And the idea is that should hopefully have enough strength to hold it on. Those magnetic stickers aren't terribly strong, but it should be enough just to clip it on and off. And that's basically it. There is a little bit of foam wrapped around here to tidy up that, and same texture that's down there. And just in keeping with my character, who's basically he starts off as a young Mandalorian keen to join the forces, and then he joins just as he hears the Chancellor's decision to create the clone army to fight the droid threat, the separatist threat. And he ends up on a random planet somewhere, disillusioned after the forces that he was with were almost completely decimated. And so he's trying to piece together his own survival with whatever he can find. So that's why this jetpack and other parts of my costume are not going to be all that stock standard, but they are going to reflect that situation. So things like this exposed wiring here, he's not mechanically minded, so he's fixed things by putting wire on the outside instead of dismantling the whole thing and trying to fix it from the inside. So just little things like that, adding some detail, adding some wear and tear. I'm not concerned that the EVO foam and everything's a little on the rough side, because that will go in with the battle damage and the mix and matching of components that my character has had to deal with. So that's basically a rundown on my jetpack thing. So the next step now is to finish dressing up all of the parts and then paint them. And my thoughts for painting is something that I did similar with some other projects, is to mix white latex glue 50-50 with water and mix some paint in. That should have the effect of sealing while also colouring. I haven't tried it so much on EVA foam, but I have done it on other things, and it's worked quite well, especially landscaping, where maybe I've used a grout base, grouted instead of using the sculptor mold or whatever. I've used grout and all that, and I've used this stuff over the top, and it's created a very good finish. So I'm hoping it'll do well on this too. Until next time.